Hello, my name is Michaela O'Connor Abrams, founder of Mocha Plus. Welcome to our Collective Conscience series. We created this series for you to bring together great minds from around the world on myriad topics that we hope will expand your mind, will challenge your current beliefs, and give you an opportunity to be inspired with every video. Enjoy.
Good evening and welcome to our 25th, I believe, Collective Conscience on Zoom. Thank you to all of you for coming and joining us. We have, as Michaela indicated, we have a little bit of a surprise for you this evening, which you're looking at right there. When I spoke with her this morning, she was crossing the Golden Gate Bridge heading towards her house. So I don't know what happened, but she's in Fresno. So I will turn it over to them in just a moment. That's typical of her, by the way. So without further ado, I throw it over to Sanger and our ladies in Sanger in the field. Now you need to unmute yourselves, actually, Michaela.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Shelley. And yes, this was a surprise that I mentioned briefly. Thankfully, Liz didn't read it, but on Paperless Post to all the invitees that the surprise was that I just decided to get in the car and drive here for what was the last Collective Conscience for Liz's picks and the end of season. And I thought, I cannot be in Mill Valley for that. And the smoke is the same. So it's just better being here with your best friend.
Thank you. Thank you for the surprise. Once again, those of you that know Michaela know this is an everyday thing with her. She loves to pull fast ones.
I do. I really do. I love. In fact, I was just tippy-toeing into the den where I saw Charlotte, her daughter, and her granddaughter Sadie, and I thought, come in and say, what's for dinner? And by the time I did it, her husband already seen me. He said, Michaela, what are you doing here?
It was more like, what the hell are you doing here?
Exactly. You always feel so welcome. But anyway. So Liz, I drove here because I would not have missed the opportunity to be in the orchard and to talk about the entire season. And we've been together twice now talking about kind of the beginning, almost a primer with that. And I don't mean primer for all of you in Collective Consciousness if you had never bought anything from a farm, but just in the ways in which farmers live and what they count on and what they think about. And that's all come out for those of you who have been with us for the first two, the import of the staff, basically, the employees, not the workers, really. And Liz corrected us about that. It's really the employees of Hudson Farms, as they are employees of the farmers all around. And Liz just wrote about that. If you haven't read the Liz's Picks this week that posted on mochaplussf.com on Wednesday, please do. And she talks about their employees and how this wouldn't be possible without them. So we've touched on so much. We've touched on the kinds of crops and water and the way to think about fruit and everything from the pit and the almond and the peach pit. And I've learned a tremendous amount. And I thought after 45 years of being friends and being here reasonably often that I would not know everything, but I'd know a lot. And I still learned a great deal. So tonight, I thought we'd do some fun things. Number one, to just talk about what happens now in the next season. Believe it or not, there are people who saw that we were going to be back together and said, well, so, okay, she closes the fruit stand, the season's over, and then what, they rest until April? I'm like, no, that's not what happens. And so I thought it'd be fun to say, what does it look like in the day in the life of Hudson Farms in the fall, which is basically the next season. It just happens that your growing season is over, but others are just beginning, and there's a whole new cycle that you are in the midst of now. So I wanted to start there. Give us an idea what happens now. Fruit stand closed, everything's picked almost.
Yeah,
right?
we're done. We finished picking. Finished picking.
What do we do in the fall?
This is the last variety. It's a carnival freestone peach. I cut one. We're standing in the orchard. There's a few behind me in the tree that we didn't pick. We always leave some out here for us.
I'm bringing it home.
Yeah, I'm going to send a box home with her. We had a pretty good season. I would say it was a hell of a lot better than last year. There were some misses, and there were some there we got on base and we scored. I won't say any home runs this year, but we did okay. Um, the biggest miss this year was our August fire nectarine. It had some cosmetic problems, so we ended up walking away from half the crop. So that hurts. The crop insurance will cover some of those losses, so we'll be able to pay the bills off of that one. But that's a big orchard for us. It's one of our favorites. It's always been a good setter, good quality. And just this year, my husband refers it to, have you ever been on a job 1 year longer than you should have? And that's and then one of our friends says, or if you ever dated this girl 1 year longer than you should have. And I said, okay, that fits too. So that was the deal with that one. The orchard's coming out. So that's said and done. We finished picking these carnivals on Wednesday of last week, so we are done. Um, Now it's kind of a chance to give everything a good drink of water. Our ditch water that comes in from the irrigation district from the ditch behind us is empty. There's no water coming down the hill now, so we won't have any surface water, but we've run our pumps a couple of times, and we'll get everything a real good post-harvest drink. If you can see in the orchard, you can see a lot of, I see them on that tree. We can turn it after we get done. A lot of the leaves are beginning to turn color, the yellow. Peaches don't get as pretty as a nectarine gets, that real pretty orange color. We have a lot of people stop in the fall and like to take pictures because it really is a pretty sight. But the trees are beginning to drop leaves. We've started pruning already. We wanted to keep our employees busy, and so we started pruning the plums. And then our three guys will prune all of with our sons, all total 180 acres. So we won't have to hire an additional help, and it gives our guys good, year-round employment in the winter months. So we'll be pruning, getting everything ready for the trees to go dormant, give them a good long restful sleep, and then in January we'll come back in and we'll apply our dormant spray, which is mainly just a fungicide, some oil, and a product we use called Asana, which is a really good product for killing different diseases and bugs that like to overwinter in the bark on the trees. So that's all done when the trees are dormant. There's not anything green on the trees. You just spray them. Even organic producers do a good dormant spray. It's part of a good cultural practice for tree fruit to help keep brown rot and things from coming in later in the season. There's a lot of gnats out here, so if you see Michaela and I go like this, there's just a lot of fruit gnats.
It's the ones that flew up my dress that I'm worried about
well,
right now. But anyway.
they get in my ear, and then
Okay.
they buzz in. Oh, man, it's a pain.
Yeah.
But anyways.
So what's happening in the kitchen in the fall?
In the kitchen, I have some these I'm letting hang a little longer. Next week, I'm going to start making jam. I want to make some jam for the holidays, for gifts and stuff. But also, I had some of my customers, we sold out of jam. You guys, I got to share this with you. It blew me away at the fruit stand this year. My friend Annette Paxton and I make jam. We rolled through 580 jars of jam from June 15th to Labor Day. I could not believe it. We've never sold that much jam. So I don't know why. It's good, but ain't that good. But people came out and they wanted to shop, and they didn't have any place to go. So they come to the fruit stand. It's outside, and so people felt safe, I guess. And so they'd walk around and shop and visit. We had a lot of people just come and visit. Some of my older customers were pretty lonely this summer, and they needed a place to go. So we offered produce. Not that any of them even bought some of them, but they just came for conversation, And if we filled a void for them in their life, I'm more than pleased this year.
Well, I was going to actually pick up on that because I remember when the season started, and we were certainly into COVID, and you're like, oh my God, I don't know what this is going to be. No idea. Are people going to stay away? Or are they just going to stay locked in their homes? I mean, we might not have customers. And it actually turned out to be a great year, a lot, because I think people didn't have a place to go. The fruit stands outdoors, you offered masks, you were wearing a shield, so everybody felt safe. But everybody ended up, it sounds like, staying because it was the only connection they had. And then, hey, you might as well walk out with some jam.
You know, some of our customers were some of our retired farmers, and I don't know to an extent the farmer really retires, that I'm talking 80, 90-year-olds, and they just came in, and they usually go to have coffee at the Jack in the Box in Sanger, and it was closed.